What's up, my friends? Welcome to the Live Wide Open podcast. I'm your host, Randy B. Ramirez, also known as Wide Open Randy, and I'm here to serve anyone who's looking to level up from their current situation. This show is dedicated to helping raise the bar for all the motorsport enthusiasts out there, those who want more out of life, those who want to do more, those who want to be more, those who love the thrill, the joy, and the connection of what these high performance engines bring into our lives. Because holding it wide open is just what we do. Being a good freaking person is who we are, and living our lives to the fullest is the lifestyle that we choose. Yo, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. Today, my friends, today we're going to be diving into this concept that is all around limitations. And really, we're going to talk about how limitations, they're really just optional. And the only limits that truly exist are the ones that we impose on ourselves, the ones that we put up here in our minds. You know, limitations are really optional. And I know people are going to be like, oh, but I have this limitation, I have this limitation, I have this limitation. Man, perspective shifts will make them become optional. You can either use those excuses to hold you back, or you can use those to empower you to become the best version of yourself, to use those as reasons why you will fucking level up, you know. And I'm not sure if you heard this term before, but it's you know, it goes like this. It goes breaking through the self-imposed glass ceiling. And I mentioned that term because so many of us, including myself, we put these self-imposed glass ceilings up there, man. And what I capture from that phrase is that we just pretty much, because of our fears, because of our limitations that we think we have, we set these invisible barriers, you know, on ourselves, and that they only end up holding us back. Like, they end up making us play small. They end up letting the fear that we have of a certain situation impose the actions that we need to take in order to create that reality that we want for ourselves, right? And the reason why it's called a glass ceiling is because most of the time, if we aren't willing to pull ourselves out, if we aren't willing to look at things from a different perspective, we will never realize that they're all just self-limitations that we set on our own minds up here. Like, they're all just invisible barriers that limits our growth. And that's why we call them, you know, the self-imposed glass ceilings. It's kind of similar to the term, and I don't know if you've heard this one, but the term that you can't read the label from inside the jar. And they say that one because when we're so focused on what we're doing, like at the moment, when we have narrow vision, what it does is that it takes us pulling ourselves out of that situation. It takes our minds to look at things from a different perspective on whatever the situation that is that you're going through, to be able to really see what's going on. Because if you were sitting inside the jar, you can't read the label because the label is outside. So this is why perspective shifts are so valuable. And so if you're willing to pull yourself out in a metaphorical, speaking metaphorically, you will be able to read the label. So these limitations, these barriers that we set on ourselves, these glass ceilings, these self-imposed glass ceilings, you know, we need to fucking punch through those motherfuckers. We need to break through. We need to eliminate them and know that they're invisible. And the reason why they call them glass ceilings is because you could see through that. But that limitation is all self-imposed in our minds. And if we let it, it will hold us back, right? So let's understand, like, the limitations. Like what are limitations in the first place, right? We're here talking about this term, but I like to define things, right? So limitations, what they are they're barriers. You know, limitations are boundaries. Limitations are pretty much restrictions that stop us or that they slow down our progress. You know, and many believe that limitations are fixed and that, you know, those limitations are all external. But in reality, most of the time, they are all self-imposed, imposed by our own selves. You know, they're imposed because we're fearful, They're imposed because we're scared, or we don't know how things are going to play out. And so we end up playing small. We limit our growth because we're fearful of what could happen. But what if you use that same fear to push you into new levels, to push the boundaries, to step into the zone of discomfort, um, to expand, to grow, to evolve, right? And so this is where the power of perspective comes into play. This is where our mindset, like the one that we have up here in our minds, it either pushes us forward or it holds us back. This is where having a strong mental toughness, like we're having that game, that game of mental toughness. And lately I've been so into this because I'm into the Live Hard program and I'm on phase 2. And so Andy Versella talks all about this. This is what his fucking main focus is, building your mental toughness. And this is where having strong mental toughness will be the deciding factor in which direction that you fucking take. Are you gonna play small or are you gonna fucking level up? Because how you perceive the challenges that are up ahead in front of you. And we all have different challenges. Some might be bigger than others, and some in our own minds, we might be making them bigger than they really seem, right? And ultimately, it all determines our mental toughness game, and how we perceive that situation will determine, our ability to overcome that challenge. Like, for example, look, like last year, I broke my scapula, my right scapula. I broke that shit. I broke it in half. Like, and it wasn't just like some hairline fracture that the scapula kind of fractured and it broke. No, this shit was literally broken in half. Like one half shifted on top of the other piece, and it was on top, like literally one piece, one half on top of the other half, and that shit was painful like a motherfucker. Like, man. And the crazy part is that I actually had to stay like that with a broken scapula, one on top of the other, for over a week before I could get surgery to get it fixed. And how that happened was I broke the scapula on a Sunday. I was out riding with my friends. I was at a stunt spot up in West Palm Beach, which that's about like a little over 2 hours away from my house. We were practicing stoppies, endos, and usually I always, on the way back from a stoppie and endo, I do some coasters, so that it helps me get in the zone. Like, that's one of my favorite tricks. And so I was doing a coaster and I jumped to a seat stander, and my functions weren't all there, and I had some brain fog, and before I know it, I was slamming the bike on the floor, trying to hold on for my dear life, and I broke my scapula in half. I didn't know it at the time, but I knew that I was in so much pain. I tried to save the bike, and I couldn't. I was dragging, and I was trying to save it to a dead stop, and it kind of got out on me and went side to side, and as I was holding on for dear life trying to save this thing, it slammed me to the right, and when it slammed me on my shoulder, and that's what broke my scapula in half. The bike after that, it fucking let go, and it tumbled, and yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a really fucking bad accident. And so all my friends there that were at the lot, they all helped me out. They closed my tent up because I had a tent there since I was so far up. I took a tent, I took jugs, I took water. I was there planning to be there almost the whole day, and I was there the whole day. This happened at the end of the day, and they all helped me. They grabbed my bike, they took it to my truck, they loaded up my bike, they loaded up all the supplies that I had, and I literally had to drive myself to the hospital. Like, my homie, one of my best friends that I consider in the riding community, he went with me to the hospital, bro, and he made sure that I made it there in one piece, because I was fucked up, man. And I remember doing everything with my left hand, shifting the gear mechanism with the left hand, fucking closing the door, putting my seatbelt on, everything, and I was struggling so bad because my right scapula was broken in half, and the shoulder was down, and then on my left hand I had a huge gash that I'm pretty sure it was from the titanium on the scrape bar. When the bike looped and flipped, I think it caught my hand, and it was so deep, and it was like freaking gushing blood, and I had like a paper towel around it. Bro, it was dramatic, but I was pushing through, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna get better. I was in so much pain, But all I had in my mind was, yo, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get through this. This was not my first accident. I've been around the block for a lot of times on that, and so I hurt like a motherfucker. It did, but I was pushing through, and I was glad that my friends were there, able to help me out. And so at the hospital, they took X-rays, and they actually tried to take X-rays the best they can, but it hurt so much that anytime I moved and everything, I was like, man, like massive throbbing pain, like really bad, like really fucking bad pain, man. And the X-rays came out, then they were like, oh yeah, you have a fracture. And I was like, okay, like man, like I've had fractures before, and this one just hurt so much more than a regular fracture. And but that's all they could do, right? So not literally, like not knowing that it was literally broken in half and one piece shifted on top of the other, like they couldn't tell, because in the X-ray you would see the line and the fracture, but you couldn't really tell that one piece was on top of the other. And so, like, on the way to the hospital, I called my wife and I was like, hey, I got hurt, I'm all right, I'm on the way to the hospital, I need you to come up here, because I can't drive for 2+ hours drive home with this pain like this. It's not safe. I'm gonna make it to the hospital, but I need you to come up here. And so she picked up my brother, and it was actually my brother and his girlfriend and my wife met me at the hospital. And I got released out of the hospital with X-rays. I got a prescription to go see a doctor, and my wife drove back my truck, and then with my brother drove back her SRT, and we came back home. My brother unloaded the bike, and I kind of did the whole thing, and then that was a Sunday. So the next day, Monday, my wife started calling on the phone nonstop, calling every doctor that we could in town, but there was no fucking appointments available. Everyone was like, yeah, I could see him maybe by the end of the week, but for sure next week, sometime next week we can schedule something for you. And I was like, babe, I am in so much fucking pain. I cannot wait till next week. There's something wrong here. Like it's not just a fracture. I've broken bones before, I've had fractures before, and this hurts so much more than that. And God works his miracles, man. And he really does, and his own ways. And after consistently calling, my wife was on the phone nonstop. She finally found a doctor that would see me that same afternoon, right? And so I kind of like did a wipey bath the best I could. No, actually, I did jump in the shower, but she pretty much showered me because I couldn't move my arm. I was in so much pain. And whatever, we got to the X-ray and to the X-ray to the doctor's office, and he took X-rays. He did the thing, and I was in so much fucking pain that like I couldn't move. They were putting me in scenarios to lift up my arm, and I couldn't lift up my arm. And I was like, Doc, there's something wrong here. Obviously, he verified, that the X-rays showed a fracture. And he was like, man, look, you're in a lot of pain. I'm gonna write a prescription for you to get a CAT scan so that we can see what's going on in your right shoulder, because you're saying that you're in so much pain, a fracture shouldn't hurt that much, And so that was on a Monday. The appointment for the CAT scan wasn't until Wednesday, I think in the afternoon, I believe. And then by the time the results came back and the doctor reviewed them, it was fucking Friday. And so we were already almost a whole week. And then he called me and he was like, hey, I got some good news, I got some bad news, and the good news is that we already know what's wrong. The bad news is that you need fucking surgery. Your scapula is broken in half, one piece is on top of the other, and if we don't go in there and do surgery, you will not be able to lift up your arm anymore. Like it's gonna be stagnant, hanging down. And I was like, oh doc, we cannot make that happen. No, we gotta fix this. And so sure enough, he scheduled the surgery for the following week. And there goes me fucking sleeping on the couch sideways, because I couldn't lay down because my scapula is in your back, and that shit was fucking hurting like a motherfucker, and I had to stay on the couch. I think towards the end of the week I did find a position where I could lay on the bed, because I wasn't really sleeping on the couch. I was shifting to the left on the side, and man, I was battling out. My wife was a trooper there for me the whole fucking time. And so why am I telling you this story, right? The reason why I'm sharing this is because that week was a fucking rough ass week, right? And the entire time, my focus was really on just getting better. Like, it really was. And I remember like when it would hurt, I would do my best to not let the pain have a voice. Like I would purposely just focus on, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna get better. And it was, and I just continued building that mental toughness within me so that I would come out of this situation fucking stronger. Like I was like, yo, this is not gonna break me. This is gonna make me. And what was even crazier is that I went on a couple 3 mile walks, and this was before I had got the CAT scan results back. This was when I thought it was just a hairline fracture, and they verified that no, it wasn't a hairline fracture. In fact, it was completely broken in half, and one piece was on top of the other. But I went on 3 mile walks, several of them, to fucking get my mental toughness game up, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get better, like I was just focusing on getting better. Like I didn't want to waste no fucking time. And then when I got out of surgery, they were like, yo, your recovery is gonna take about 6 months. And he was like, you gotta take it easy. And I was like, okay, doc, yeah. But inside my mind, I was like, yo, fuck that. That's bullshit. I'm gonna cut that time as much as I can, and I'm gonna come back from this stronger than I have ever have. This is this is this is gonna fucking make me. Like I'm gonna come out of this like a fucking beast. Like and I really did. And having that mindset, having that perspective shift, like literally was the fucking game changer to how I recovered so fast. Like it really was. Like I remember going to therapy, and they'd be like, yo, just take it easy, don't hurt yourself, and I was like, nah. Like I did every single exercise to the best of my ability. Like I would come out of that fucking therapy session, every single one, sweating, bro, like sweating like if I was at the gym, because from how hardcore I was hitting the recovery. Like I was making people in there that were like pretty much just about fully recovered. Like I was making them look like they weren't doing shit because they were all not even sweating, not even breaking a sweat. They were just there, like kind of taking it easy. And I was there giving it all I had with every single exercise. And it was all because of the way that I approached the situation. Like I was looking at it like, I'm going to come out better than this. I'm going to fucking come out stronger. And every exercise, I was like, this is making me stronger. This is making me better. And it was, all because of the mindset that I have on it, because of the mindset shift, because I chose that wasn't a limitation, that was a lesson coming at me to become fucking stronger. This was an opportunity to build my mental toughness game to the fucking most that it had ever been at that point, right? And so you're gonna have self-doubt, like when especially when a lot of challenging circumstances come your way. Of course we're gonna have self-doubt, of course we're gonna have fear, of course we're gonna think that we can't do things, but that's all part of human nature. And the thing is that if we feed into that self-doubt, like all it does is it makes us create a glass ceiling for ourselves, and then we think that we can't push through that glass ceiling. We everyone tells us about, oh, you can get better, oh, you can just, but like that's why they call it a glass ceiling, because you're able to see through it. We're like, oh man, I can't get through this limitation. I don't know why. And it's all because it's a self-imposed limitation. And if you're willing to fucking break through it, you will overcome it. You really are. And this is why, your self-confidence, why it needs to be at the fucking highest that it possibly can at all fucking times. This is why we must do hard shit every single fucking day. This is why we must remain ready all the time, so that no matter what comes our way, we attack things with this, I'm gonna fucking make this shit happen, or I'm gonna fucking make this shit happen type of mentality. Like, if you stay ready, you never gotta get ready. And that's actually the approach that I'm hitting this Ironman 70.3 this year is every year I train like about 3 months before the event. This will be, I think, my fourth one now. And this year, man, the first time that I did the event, I did almost 8 hours. The second and third time did the event, I did 6 hours and 20-ish, 6 hours and 30-ish, something like that. So I cut almost an hour and a half of my time. And that's a lot of fucking time to cut. And now I'm trying to get into the 5 hour mark. So I got to cut at least another 45 minutes from my time. And so this time I'm focusing on just fucking staying ready. If I stay ready the whole year, but then the time comes, man, I'm going to be in so much better shape. My mental toughness game is going to be fucking on fire, and I'm going to fucking crush it. And so, it's all about, making progress, and making progress every single day, man. And at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to highlight those things to yourself. Like you want to make sure that you are making it aware to yourself, to your mind, all the fucking good things that you're accomplishing every single day, so that what that creates and what that happens is, and what that establishes within yourself is that it helps you reframe every single day as a win. And when you can reframe every day as a win, no matter what happens in your mind, it is a win. And you start building on that, and you build momentum, right? And if even if you encounter roadblocks, like even if you encounter some speed bumps, even if you encounter failures, because trust me when I say that they will fucking come, they will. You got to be able to shift your narrative. You got to be able to shift, the things that you tell yourself about those circumstances, and know that it's not a sign of weakness. Know that it's yet another opportunity for you to grow. You know, you got to be able to pull yourself out of that situation and fucking say to yourself, man, what is this trying to teach me right now? What can I learn from this freaking scenario? How am I going to level up from this shit? Like, this is here to fucking make me. This is not here to break me. Like, how am I going to level up? How am I going to shift my perspective? How am I going to grow from this scenario, right? And so when you're able to say those things to yourself, you're really able to shift the perspective that you have around that situation. And then this is where having a growth mindset really comes into play. Like, forget having a fucking fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, you don't want to have that shit. That's a fixed mindset brings limitations. You want to have a growth mindset. With a growth mindset, you have the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, and they truly can. And you got to be able to break through those fucking barriers. You got to be able to identify what are your self-imposed limitations that I'm setting on myself right now. Like, ask yourself, like, what is it? What excuses am I fucking making? Like, what do I think is impossible right now? But if reality, if I really put my mind to this shit, I can make it happen. Like, and then once you identify those things, you want to start making a plan to see how that you're gonna fucking overcome them. You really do. And then the first step, really it's all about willing to be able to take the first step. Because more times than not, action needs to be taken before you can start believing that you can actually make it happen. Like, it really does. And I'm gonna repeat that line right there because it's so fucking true. Many people are like, oh, you got to believe and you got to believe. And then once you believe, it starts becoming possible. And belief, you got to have that. But there's going to be many times in your life where you don't know if you can fucking make something happen, where you don't know if you have it in you to make it happen. And so this is why it's so important for you to take that first step, and take that first step, and then take the next step and the next step. And when you eventually take enough steps, you start believing and you start increasing your confidence. You start building the momentum and you're like, holy shit, I can fucking actually make this happen. Like, look, a great example for that is my wife and I are on phase 2 of the Live Hard program. I had mentioned earlier that I'm on the Live Hard program. Well, we're on phase 2. Live Hard program is 75 hard, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and it's in a whole year program. And we're on phase 2, and we only have a couple days left in phase 2, right? And aside from all the other daily tasks that we have to do as part of the requirements of the phase 2 program, we chose to do a 5K run as the daily outdoor workout. A 5K run every single day. And when we set that goal, like, our minds were like right away, like, bro, man, I don't know. That shit is gonna be impossible to accomplish. Like, how the fuck are you gonna run a 5K every single day for 30 days? Like, you haven't even been running all year. And you're just gonna go into this cold turkey and fucking tackle a 5K consistently for 30 days? Like, you don't have that in you. Like, you can't even run that much, right? And I've ran a lot more than that, but my wife is not a big runner now. She is becoming a runner, like, and it was all because we established the fucking taking the action, just showing up. And truthfully, I didn't even know if we could do that shit. Like, bro, I ran some long distances, but it's never been consecutively for 30 days, and running a 5K every day for 30 days. Like, that is some fucking hard shit. And and I transparent as fuck right here. Like, I didn't know that we could do it, but I knew that we would try our fucking hardest. And I knew that we would just focus on just showing up every single day. And now all we have is like a handful of days left. I think we have like, by the time you see this, is Friday. So we have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We have like 4 days left by the time you see this and it comes out. And now we're just like, yo, how much longer can we push this, you know? And 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 it was so funny because when we started, we're like, oh my God, I don't know if we can do it. We started putting these self-imposed glass ceilings in our minds, you know, and it was the fear of not being able to not know if we can actually do it. And this is why I'm preaching about just showing up, just take it one day at a time. And now I've mentioned to her the other day, you know, I was like, yo, what do you think about extending the daily 5K runs to your birthday? And I would add like another 12 days, making it like 42 consecutive 5Ks. And she was like, well, that's gonna be challenging, but I think we could do it. Like, and that goes to show you that the belief system was created because of the action that we were taking, that we've been taking. And have there been hard days? Fuck yeah, there've been some hard days. But all we've been doing is focusing on showing up one day at a time. One day at a time. And soon enough, all of them will be going down the line, right? And so those limitations that you think you have, like, my friends, they are all fucking optional. The only limits that truly exist are the ones that we place on ourselves. Like, embrace the mindset of unlimited potential in both your personal and your professional lives. And remember, the choice is always yours. Yo, I'm driving the fucking checkered flag deep into the ground, and I'm calling out all the motorsport enthusiasts who want to improve their situation. Let's break free from all the shit that's been holding us back, and let's prove to the world that we're truly some badass fucking motherfuckers. Those of you who made it to the end of the episode, I want to say that you got yourself a win, man. And I truly appreciate you for investing your valuable time into the Live Wide Open podcast. This movement is called Live Your Life Wide Open, and helping others improve is the mission that God has tasked us with. We are driven individuals. We're working on breaking the fucking stereotype, and we're working on becoming the best that we can be. Join me on this journey while we help as many motorsport enthusiasts as possible to create the best lives that we can imagine. Yo, and if you haven't subscribed yet, my friends, what are you fucking waiting for? Go ahead and smash that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. You can follow me on my Instagram. My handle is Wide Open Randy. Yo, and if you felt any connection to today's message, I genuinely ask that you please share this on your stories, because those are the actions that really help us spread the message. I'll catch you guys on the next episode, but till then, live your life wide open, my friends. Peace.